All right, boys and girls, welcome to Jets Talk. My name is Ryan. I'll be your pilot tonight. I am all sorts of excited to talk to you, boys and girls. We're going to talk a little bit about the NFL draft, a little bit about some of the wide receivers that the Jets have brought in over the last, prior to the deadline, how they've performed since becoming New York Jets. And the topic of tonight, I want to get your thoughts. How do you prefer the solve quarterback one? There's a poll question in the chat. You guys can vote on that as you come in. If you're watching this after the fact and you want to let me know what you guys are thinking down below in the comment section, I'd love to hear your thoughts. The options on the poll right now: veteran quarterback, either trade or free agent. Doesn't matter which one. You can comment which one you kind of like. Draft a rookie in 2026 or build the team plus draft a rookie in 2027. I feel like a lot of people are probably going to lean towards rookie in 2026, but it's a big what if type of scenario because we don't know what draft spot we're going to have. We'll talk a little bit about that as we go throughout the night. You can see the current rankings right here, and I'll give you guys my thoughts as to what the final top 5 will probably look like. We can look at some of the schedules from some of the other teams. We can take a look at some of the, prospects if you want to take a look at some of them. But I would love to hear what you guys have to say. I see in the chat you guys nice and early in here. Love seeing you. Gangrene says, hey. Mark coming in says, all depends where we sit in the draft order. I completely agree, Mark, because if we are sitting, I would say 5 or lower, it might be a little bit harder to kind of come back up. Now, I am of the opinion that I would like to trade up in this draft if we are sitting that far back. So if we wind up winning a few games, I'm not going to be totally beat up over it. I do want to embrace the competitiveness that the Jets roster could potentially have over these next few weeks, but I would love to find ways that the quarterback is the reason we wind up losing these games here, particularly Jets Atlanta and Jets Saints. Those are two very, very big games that we have to keep an eye on, and I'll go into just exactly why in a little bit here. Curly, nice to see you in here. What's up, dude? EBTZ. I misclicked on the vote. Uh-oh. I don't know which one you clicked on. I can't see independent votes, but I'm curious to see which one you clicked on in there. Don't want to force a rookie quarterback pick, says Blitz Crew. I definitely agree. I would say for me, Mendoza's the one quarterback I would be willing to trade up to number 1 for. I think Tennessee is a big, I don't want to say wild card. Well, let's get into my thoughts on it, right? Okay. So the remaining strength of schedule, the Tennessee Titans wind up playing the Saints. You notice both teams are sitting right in front of the New York Jets. If the Titans find a way to beat the Saints, it's probably their most winnable game left on their schedule. They do have the Browns, but I don't know. I'm not super. I don't know if the Titans are going to overcome the Browns defense, but there could be a shot. Basically, I think the Saints are the Titans' best chance at getting a second win. If the Titans get a second win, they fall way down. I don't know if it's behind Vegas, but it's definitely behind the Jets if we maintain everything all considered. Yeah, so they would fall below the Raiders. So they would fall to 5. Everyone else would shift up. The Giants obviously have one extra loss on their record right now, which is causing their draft stock to be a little bit higher right now. The next piece of this puzzle is the Jets play the Saints. So in a perfect world, it might, if we think the Jets can lose out these final few games, then you want the Titans to beat the Saints and you want the Jets to lose to the Saints. That would be the ultimate situation, and then the Jets lose the rest of their games. That's how the Jets get the number 1 overall pick, if that's what you're kind of rooting for. If you're of the same opinion as me and you're not confident the Jets are going to be losing out the rest of the way, I don't think it's going to happen. But let me pull up the exact schedule. Not for the Jets, but for the Saints here. So the final games for the Saints, we play the Saints on December 21st. Big game for the New York Jets and the draft stock. And we're going to know ahead of time because we are going to have the Dolphins. I believe it's the Dolphins on December 7th. And we have the Falcons coming up this week. So the Falcons is a big test as well. But if we get to the last game of the season, the Jets have lost versus the Saints. And we're going into the final 2 games of the season. I believe is it Patriots, Bills? Is that how we finish out the season? Then that second to last game, the Saints are playing the Titans. So we'll know how to root. If the Jets wind up winning any of these last few games, we are going to want the Titans to lose versus the Saints because that will allow us the opportunity to move up to the Titans pick, and that would cause the Saints to win, which would drop them further back down the list, seemingly where we are as well. The top 3 teams I'm predicting right now are going to end up being the Titans, the Raiders, and the Jets. I don't see the Raiders winning another game. I think they're going to be a tough team. So if we win one game, we will be behind the Raiders, more likely than not. The Raiders do play, who do they got? Their easiest opponents right now are the Giants and the Texans. I don't consider either one of those to be very easy opponents. I think the Raiders and Titans are probably the 2 worst teams in the league right now. So some interesting thoughts in here. Navy Hamster, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. Says, if the Titans and Giants stay 1-2 and the Jets end up at 3, we don't have to move up because Mendoza would most likely fall, given neither of those teams needs a quarterback. The Jets can lose out. Are we calling in? I will probably do call-ins towards the back half of this show. I'll do this for an hour, and we will go probably around 9 o'clock. I'll do some call-ins, get some thoughts on what you guys are thinking as well. As far as this, if the Titans and Giants stay 1-2, I would bet my bottom dollar both those picks will be open for trades. Like, let's say those 2 finish first, and then the Jets finish third. I don't know how the schedule would have to work out, but let's say it's the Saints, the Raiders, and Cleveland all sitting somewhere in the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 range, somewhere in that ballpark. I would bet there's going to be a team on that list that is willing to give up some picks to go up above the Jets. Cleveland has 2 first-round picks. The Saints might be looking for someone. Now, I could see the Saints wait till next year, potentially, if they have their sights maybe set on Arch Manning, want to give Shuck an extra chance. I would say if there are 3 quarterbacks coming out, let's say Mendoza, Ty Simpson, and Moore, all 3 of them decide they're coming out this year, I would be willing. You know what? I don't even know if I'd be willing to sit at 3. You might want to call their bluff. I would understand teams that want to. Like, I would understand people that would want to have those teams call their bluff. Like, the Giants would probably take a receiver. The Titans would probably take the linebacker from Ohio State, Arvell Reese, who's now projected number 2 to the Giants. I would say I would still probably try to swing a pick to guarantee that we get the number 1 overall pick. Like, if we're sitting at 3, I would offer up a second-round pick to the Titans, be like, hey, look, you're still going to get your guy, arguably maybe the second-best player, whatever, to fall down to 3. Are you willing to get an extra second-round pick to guarantee? Like, if we love a quarterback enough, I would give up a second-round pick to make sure we secure that player, to make sure maybe the Rams aren't jumping up behind us or, anyone else. That would be my hope as far as that goes. But if you want to sit tight, you have to be okay getting the 3rd option potentially at quarterback. If you're okay with all 3, then you can roll that die. You could say, okay, maybe Mendoza falls to us and we get the QB1. Absolute best case scenario. Someone trades up to either one of those picks, and then you get quarterback 2, or both teams trade out and you get 2 quarterbacks going in front of you and you now get the 3rd pick at quarterback. You have to be prepared for that if that's how it shakes out. Now, I think the Giants will wind up getting an extra game, or we'll wind up tying as far as that goes. I don't think they're going to pick 2. I think that team's a little more scrappy than it gives them credit. The fact that they took the Lions to overtime, like, that team should win a game or 2 coming up here. Their final schedule. Where's the Giants? Giants have the Raiders, Washington, the Vikings, and Dallas. I would bet they could win 2 of those games. I mean, honestly, they could win all 4 based on how they played versus the Lions. It's entirely possible. So I would say it's a long shot for them to be 2. I do think the Saints have a bunch of winnable games. They got the Titans, they got us, the Falcons, the Dolphins, and the Panthers. Plenty of meat on the bone for them to pick up a few wins. The Titans really, that first pick hinges on what happens. I mean, they got the Jaguars twice, so I guess maybe they could sneak in a win in there. But the Saints is really their only winnable game in there. EBTZ says, hopefully Shuck continues to play good. I would like to see that. I don't know what his stat line was. I'll have to take a look at that. The other thing I wanted to bring up was the wide receiver conversation. John Mechie III coming from Philadelphia in that Michael Carter II trade was an absolute masterclass. Along with A.D. Mitchell in the Sauce trade, all the other late round draft picks that were swapped for like Briggs and Brownlee Jr. and Phillips, all those were great trades. But Mechie has the potential to really stand out and stick. Now, for those of you that are living under a rock, he came into the league. He would have been a number one, like a first round pick. He tore his ACL. He wound up falling to the second round. He was drafted by the Texans, found out he had leukemia, missed the entire first year, was like fighting back from that, was in a crowded room in Houston, was in a crowded room in Philadelphia as far as wide receivers go. The Jets decided to take a flyer on him, and he's producing so far. Through 3 games with the Jets. The first game, I'd call it, he only had 1 target. He had the 1 reception for 3 yards. But in 2 games, the last 2 games, he has 10 receptions. No, sorry, he has 10 targets, 9 receptions for 110 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's with Justin Fields and Tyrod Taylor at quarterback, without Garrett Wilson. So if Garrett Wilson comes back, you add a wide receiver 2 in the offseason, and then you have Mechie as your third. Heck, if AD's like an upside 4th round wide receiver or fourth string wide receiver, and then Arian Smith could be your 5, and you're or gadget guy or whatever, you're feeling right as rain. This wide receiver room was sneakily flipped by Muji leading up to and at the trade deadline. I have really, really liked that. To give you an idea of these last 2 games with Mechie, right now he is averaging his yards per game with the Jets is 37.7. Granted, that's 3 games, with one of those games being like a 3-yard performance. So grain of salt on that first game that he came in. But the next 2 games, he averaged, he had 45 yards and then had 65 yards. Prior to that, with the Eagles, 2.6 yards per game. With Houston, 19.5 was his career high, and 9.9 was his first year playing back in 2023. I believe he was drafted in 22, right? I think he was. Pretty sure he was. Yeah, 2022 draft. So just through that little brief stint, granted he's getting wide receiver 1, targets potentially. A lot of those might have gone to Garrett Wilson. But you probably have a lot less drives being sustained currently. So you might have more opportunities with longer drives consistently. So I like it. T-Time says, quarterback this year, but no trade-ups. No quarterback this year is worth more than the first-round pick we would take them with. I disagree. I would trade up for Mendoza. I would give up as much as both firsts this year and a second next year. That's the most I'd be willing to give up. If you can't do it for that, it's fine. I'm good with sitting tight, seeing if a quarterback falls to us, or taking a swing in the late first, early second on like a John Mateer or a Nussmeier, or maybe Maava, elevates to that late first round conversation, beginning of the second first round conversation. I would go the back half of the first before giving up too many assets. Like I wouldn't want to give up assets for Moore or Simpson at this junction. I'd be open to drafting them early if we felt we liked them. If they wanted to pass on them, I would actually kind of be okay with that too. Joe says no trade up. Curly hooking it up says hit the like button. It's free. Thank you, Curly. It's greatly appreciated. Mark says get a good vet early. Get a good vet for early games next year. Bring along the rookie slowly. I'm kind of open to the idea of Tyrod being the veteran in here that you bring back, although I would probably want to also bring in an additional player like Gardner Minshew. Like if you could tell me we have Minshew and Tyrod as our two players heading into the draft, then that will allow me to not force the quarterback conversation. You can kind of sit back and make the correct trade or the correct selections based on that mindset. And maybe one falls to you and you like the quarterback. But I think you have to go into the draft feeling like you may have had your day one starter on the roster. What's up, Jeff? Good to see you in here. Curly says, if quarterback turns out to be good, no one will care if we trade up. I'd rather not trade up, though. Yeah, if we could earn the first overall pick and just select Mendoza and keep all our other riches, that's like the ultimate thing we could possibly be hoping for. Now, I do hope we compete over these last few weeks with everything, with like Glenn performing well. I'd like to see, I don't necessarily want to see wins, but I want to see like good football where we just like, just miss that win at the end to build morale going into the back half of the season and into next year. Joe says, better quarterback class in 2027. It sounds like it's shaping up to be that way, with more potentially going back to school. If it's just Ty Simpson and Mendoza coming out, I think you're probably feeling like it's a little bit slimmer. I do want to see the college football playoffs. I want to see how Mendoza goes against top competition. I'd love to see Mateer go against top competition. Same with Moore and same with Simpson. No trade up for Mendoza. I'd rather tank, which I already think AG is doing. Yeah, I mean, it certainly feels like there's opportunities to maybe have a chance to win certain games or make certain decisions, and we don't tend to do it. Hopefully that's the reason, and it's not just because Glenn is maybe making the wrong calls here. Curly, we should draft a quarterback. I hear the 2032 class is loaded. Yeah, you don't want to be caught looking ahead to the next draft class when you have the opportunity to take a quarterback in the current draft class. So like where we passed over Mahomes and we passed over Watson for Jamal Adams, maybe it's worth taking the quarterback and then having your riches later on. Imagine if we had Mahomes or Watson and then also had our first round pick the following year plus 3 second round picks. Like we gave up a lot to go up and get Sam. Would have changed how this team looks. If we fall back in the draft, select best player available, then go quarterback with the Colts pick. I'd be fine with that. I like enough quarterbacks in this class that I think there will be one at the top of the second or end of the first, and I could live with that. To play in New York, we need a quarterback that is borderline full-time alcoholic. Viva Namath, number 12. I think it does take a particular type of personality. So when I look at some of the players coming out, personality is a very key component to this. I really like the attitude that John Mateer has. Admittedly, I haven't watched enough of Maeva, the quarterback from USC, so TBD. I do have a little bit of PTSD from having two USC quarterbacks kind of flame out under the Jets, so there is that little bit of maybe concern. It's concern there, but I shouldn't feel that way. But yeah, I'm going to keep an eye out on all that and see if their personalities actually jive. EBTZ, the only 3 teams I see needing a quarterback are the Steelers, Browns, Saints. I hope one of the quarterbacks may fall maybe to 15, 16, then trade up. It's a long shot, but man, I could hope. I think the teams that could be going quarterback, definitely Steelers, definitely Browns, definitely Saints, definitely could be Vegas, could be the Rams. If they wind up winning a Super Bowl and Stafford decides to like walk away at the top of his game, or even if they think Stafford might have like 2 years left in him, maybe they pull the trigger on a quarterback having such a high pick with Atlanta, it may not cost them a whole lot to go all the way to the top. And trading with an NFC team, if you're a team like the Titans, might not be the worst. Granted, it depends where that Atlanta pick falls. You're not going to want to fall too far down the ladder here. Draft a quarterback without a trade. So would you be more apt to sit and pick at 3 if like Moore, Mendoza, and Simpson are all coming out? You just like any one of the 3 and you just want to sit there? I can respect that. Where's Dom C been? Why hasn't he been on the channel? He was here last week. Dom was on the channel last week. I think he was on the previous 4 weeks. I have to go back and look. He had something come up with his kids tonight, so he wasn't able to join. Would not give up any assets for this quarterback class. This year doesn't have a Myles Garrett kind of player in it. Zachary, I really, really like, if you have not watched him, I highly suggest you look at 𝐼𝐸 If 𝐼𝐸 is available and the Jets don't want to go quarterback, I would be very tempted to make that selection. I would also take any of the wide receivers at the top. I think you could probably argue wide receiver more for me, but Reese is an absolute stud. Joe is intrigued by Arch Manning. I would be okay with sitting tight. I don't know if we're going to be in position to get Arch Manning or if the Manning family would even allow him to come to the Jets. I think that's probably my bigger concerns. Blitz says, given the draft next year, not sure how many are going to be looking to trade up. Yeah, that's true. Maybe there's going to be fewer teams willing to come up. Cleveland may not be willing to come up because of the dead cap hit that they're going to incur from Cousins. Or, sorry, not from Cousins, from Deshaun Watson. Plus, they got Shedeur Sanders already and Gabriel that they took this year, so they might be willing to kind of wait it out another season until 2027. The Saints could be the same sort of situation. Shuck might be good enough for them to say, hey, let's just get the best available non-quarterback at our pick. And then maybe they do want a shot at Arch Manning next year or see where they stand. I think that's entirely possible. Outside of that, I think, I think Pittsburgh at 16 could be looking quarterback. How much are they willing to get up, and how much are they willing to give up, and how far can they get up with a team wanting to go down that far? So the Jets might be in a good spot. You might be able to sit tight and just kind of say, all right, we'll call your bluff. Depends how other teams feel about Mendoza to trade up. Yeah, that's true. If they're going to give up a lot, maybe they don't feel as, I don't want to say rambunctious, as trigger happy as the Jets might feel like. The Jets might feel like they need to go get their guy, and this might be a year to just do it. If there's limited competition trying to come up to the top, this might be the move. And then you just load up. If people are getting their quarterbacks next year, load up on other positions. Or you take a swing at the second round guy, like at the Colts pick, or a second round pick, and then you could move off of them after a year. You get like 2 cracks at it in 2 years. I'd be fine with that. Tea time. If we can't get Simpson or Mendoza without trading up, then we trade for a vet. Take best player available, wide receiver with our pick. Fill out the roster. Take a flyer on a mid-round quarterback. Go all in for quarterback next year. I'm fine with that. I think you probably have to make the decision on trading for a veteran quarterback prior to the draft, so you know you're in that comfortable situation. And then, yeah, I'd be fine. Mateer's the guy I would love to just take a crack at. I think he's got a very low floor, but man, he's got an attitude. If I had a draft crush this year, Mateer would be it. No one knows which quarterback will be best, so might as well just take whichever falls to you and save your picks to build out the roster. Yeah, I mean, how many times have we seen the first quarterback not pan out the best? Like, Baker and Darnold are both pretty good, but Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are easily the 2 best quarterbacks from their draft class. And they were taken at, 7 and 32? Landon, don't hate me, but I don't hate having Wentz as quarterback too. I don't hate that either. I don't know. Let me see what his... Is he under contract for next year? I think I'd probably want Minshew over Wentz. So Wentz is a free agent this next offseason. He's 33 right now, so he'll be 34. I'd probably lean towards Minshew. How's he even played? He's okay. Wild Shoe says Mendoza is not a franchise guy. He's not even worth a top 10 pick. Right now I disagree with that. I do think Mendoza is good enough based on what I've seen, but we'll know more towards the college football playoffs. If he just fizzles out and sputters out and he can't handle top competition, then yeah, don't trade up and just sit at your pick. And if you want to make the selection, go for it. If he looks good, that'll tell you more too. Same with Ty Simpson. Same with Moore. I think there's going to be opportunities for us to have a little more analysis on these quarterbacks than where we're at right now. This is not a final product by any stretch. Kev says, adapt to the board. Prove your worth as an evaluator. Yes, I agree. Mendoza isn't going to make us a playoff team. We have more holes to fill. I mean, we got a ton of draft picks, dude. Like, if we can get Mendoza for what the equivalent of, like, a first and a second round pick are, if you think he's your franchise guy, if you can't build a team with 2 second round picks this year and 3 first round picks next year, like, there's probably a bigger problem. Just my thoughts. Ryan, that's a lot to give up for Mendoza. So this is me predicting the Jets are going to win 2 games. So I'm predicting the Jets are going to be somewhere in that 5 to 7 range. And I think you probably can't just give up a 1 first or 1 second to get up that high. I think you'd have to give up your other first and probably second next year. Because now you got to talk about having the Titans miss out on the top non-quarterback because there's other teams in front of us. I think that's my prediction is that's what it's going to cost to get to 1, almost regardless of where you're at. Unless we're sitting at pick 2 or pick 3, like maybe you just offer let's say we end up with pick 2. The Jets could make the calculation of like, hey, we're going to do similar to what I think it was the Bears that did it, where you just flip picks and you give some sort of like, hey, we'll give you a, next year's second or something, or a second this year to guarantee a team doesn't trade up. We know we're getting our guy. Or if you like 2, you just sit there and pick. The best case scenario is that you like multiple quarterbacks. A.D. Mitchell always looks like he's going to trip himself after the catch. He's super twitchy. Super twitchy. I like it. The Jets didn't trade Sauce and Quinnen because they're trading up for a quarterback. They did it because their roster isn't good. I disagree. I think they did it to get assets for sure. But I think it also gave them assets to go get a quarterback if they want in one of the 2 years. They don't have to get the quarterback this year. They could absolutely go all in on the quarterback in 2027. Build your roster out. But they were opportunistic because Quinnen was going to need more money at the end of this year. And Sauce had a $30 million bonus that would have triggered if the Jets didn't trade him when they did. So those were both opportunistic trades that netted high returns that are going to benefit them in trying to get a quarterback. I don't think it's like, of course, we need to add more talent to this team, but the offensive line, the running backs, the tight ends, I shouldn't say tight ends, tight end, Taylor. Like, I think the stuff you're looking to add could have been added with like $90 million in salary cap space without the draft picks. So I think there's some opportunities to build this team. Bearcats quarterback is pretty good. What's his... I have not watched him, I'll be honest. I don't know is he coming out this year? He's not... Oh, yeah, Sorbsby. I don't want to speak too much about a particular quarterback. I've watched enough Mendoza to feel confident in him, but some of the other quarterbacks I want to give a little more time to. We doing call-ins tonight? Yeah, we'll do call-ins sometime around 9 or so. Jerome, I believe in the theory that you draft quarterback every year until you find the guy. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Whether it's the top of this draft or the back half of the first round, I'm good with really either route. I don't have to be sold one way or the other on it. Minnesota might want a quarterback. Dude, Minnesota is in a world of hurt. J.J. McCarthy looks like cheeks right now. Jets need to draft a quarterback and need to draft a linebacker. Yeah, I mean, if there's a situation where you're sitting there at your draft pick and you want to take Arvell Reese at the top and John Mateer at the back end of the first, or Maava or whatever, and then, let's say next year you wind up with a really high pick and you just want to go with a new quarterback, no issues there whatsoever. There's a lot of ways to skin a cat. Landon says Drew Allar entering the draft. Oh, is Drew Allar entering the draft? Yes, he is. He's run out of eligibility. I think he played in one more game. I think the game he played in was the game that triggered his final season. Like if he hadn't played, I believe it's in that final game that he got hurt. He would have been able to have one additional year of credit to go back to Penn State, in which case I think he would have. Now he's going to end up being like a mid-round pick. Could he be a mid-round flyer post-injury paired with a vet quarterback like Wentz and 2027 wide receiver early in round 1? Yeah, absolutely. I think that's totally a route you could go. I would explore Tanner McKee from Philadelphia. I would explore maybe Gardner Minshew. I would take a quarterback at the back end of the first. Like, there's a lot of different ways that you could kind of have this all figure out and still take a quarterback in 27 if it doesn't. I'm not a huge Wentz guy. I think Minshew might have a little more, I don't want to say tread on the tire, but might be a better locker room guy than Wentz. Package all the firsts for the next 2 years with Woody for a new owner. Wow. Would you give up 5 first-round picks to guarantee no more Woody Johnson as your owner? I would give up a select 5. I would give up Sheldon Richardson. I would give up D. Milner. I would give up Quentin Coples, Kyle Wilson, and Zach Wilson. I would give up all 5 of those guys to guarantee we'd have a new owner. I guess the answer is probably yeah. Freedom House, how many rookie quarterbacks have we ruined? Let's not trade up and ruin more than 1 pick. So I understand this thought process, and I think there's probably a little less expectation if you draft a quarterback closer to the back end of the first, second round. I mean, fans are still going to be calling for this kid to be playing early on. But I think you have to temper expectations and have more of a surefire guy in front of them. If the rookie beats them out, that's fine. The last few years, we haven't had the rookie actually beat out the incumbent. He's just handed the job. How about Cousins for quarterback too? Yeah, I am fine with Cousins too. I don't hate that decision. It would make my video channel go full circle because I was predicting that the Jets would go after Cousins in the first video I made for this channel. If we're being honest, Jets should draft Bain and go quarterback next year. I don't want to go Bain. If I were the Jets, Arvell Reese would be the selection I would make over Bain Jr. I would even take Jordan Tyson, like one of the wide receivers, Carnell Tate. I would take any one of those guys over Bain right now. 275-pound edge rusher doesn't really sound great. Like that sounds like a very high drafted Michael Clemens, like big body type player. Just a different mindset, I guess. Wild Chew, I really do believe that the first 3 picks are gonna be on the defensive side of the ball. If it's sitting this way, it's possible. I mean, you're talking Bain, Reese, and potentially Downs as the top 3 guys. That would be great. And quarterback just falls in our lap. Which Jet games are possible wins? I think Atlanta, the Saints, the Dolphins, and even to some extent the Jaguars. I think all 4 of those games could end up being winnable for the New York Jets. And I think we get 2. I think the Jets end up with 4 wins, and we're going to pick somewhere in the, maybe it's 4 through 7 range. I don't love it. Yeah, Bears did that with 49ers in 2017, was flipping the second pick for the first pick. I guess it depends how far down the next QB needy team is. Like if Vegas is right behind us, maybe they're considering coming up. I don't know. I'd have to weigh some options. Kev, side note, I saw a clip of 𝐂𝐟𝐻 gave advice to Mahomes to choose baseball over football for the money. Imagine if Mahomes listened to 𝐂𝐟𝐻. Yeah, I mean, he got a $500 million contract for 10 years. 𝐂𝐟𝐻 probably didn't want is that 𝐂𝐟𝐻 like the baseball player or Aaron Rodgers, meaning the quarterback? I don't know how good Mahomes was, where he stood as far as caliber of baseball play. But I mean, if you had to pick one, he obviously wouldn't have the Super Bowls. You got to think football worked out pretty well for him. Now, if you could envision hey, I could be a top athlete anywhere, probably baseball or basketball with the guaranteed contracts and the size of the contracts they do. Those are probably the sports you'd want to be in. What do I think about the USC quarterback? 3rd time's a charm. So I haven't watched enough of him. I'll be straight up honest with you. I will do my digging once the college playoffs are done because I feel like that adds a lot of context for me, especially at the top end guys. I don't think USC, they shouldn't be in the discussion, right? What are we looking at for college football playoffs right now? Is this one not even going to give me the... I just want to see where we're sitting. Who are the top teams? Yeah, so USC isn't in it right now. I don't know if this is this official yet? The bracket is revealed on this Sunday, December 7th. So we got some time. I don't know when this article was written, but they got Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, A&M 3, Georgia 4, all have a bye. The next up would be Texas Tech, Ole Miss, Oregon, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Alabama, Miami, and is that Tulane? I think it's Tulane. Interesting. V-Man, what's up, dude? V-Man says, what separates Mendoza from prior draft quarterback like Darnold and Wilson is Mendoza's big draw is his IQ, which Jets haven't had in a quarterback since Chad. Yeah, I think he just seems like the processor's there. Like it's like he sees it, balls out, boom. He feels like to me that he has the absolute highest floor. I think there's an entirely legitimate case that he doesn't have the highest ceiling in this class. I don't know who winds up coming out, but let's say Sellers comes out, Mateer comes out, Nussmeier comes out. Like those guys could, in theory, have higher floors. Ty Simpson, I know a lot of people talk about him having a high floor. I think Mendoza's ceiling is high enough. Sorry, I think those guys could have higher ceilings. I think Mendoza has the safest floor for the New York Jets, while also still having a high ceiling. Someone mentioned him being like Jared Goff-esque. I will absolutely take Jared Goff's quarterbacking skills for the New York Jets all damn day long. I agree with you, man. E-Rock, if we manage first pick, trade back Mendoza? No, I'm taking Mendoza. If we get the number 1 pick, it's Mendoza, and I'm not thinking twice about it. Don't overcomplicate it. Make the selection and move on. I don't know if there's going to be a guy that's going to give... I don't know if there's a team that's going to give you enough to trade up to number 1. I mean, I guess you listen to all options if you really don't fall in love with Mendoza. I wouldn't suggest taking him just to take him. I like him enough that I would consider trading up for him, so I would absolutely take him at 1. Blitz Crew, top 4 draft needs. I'm thinking quarterback, linebacker, safety, and wide receiver. I'm of the same wavelength. And there's a few ways I would do it. Quarterback at the top if you can get Mendoza. I'm a little lukewarm on Simpson and whether or not more comes out. If I couldn't get quarterback at the top, then I'm pivoting to probably Arvell Reese if he's there, or one of the top wide receivers. And I would forego quarterback at the very, very top. Then you get towards the back end of the first, and you reassess that quarterback situation. Also depends on where your second round pick is. I would reach on the quarterback. If I was planning to take a quarterback in the second round, I would reach on the quarterback and take him at the back end of the first to get that 5th-year option. There's enough value there that's just worth it to do it that way. And I would forego maybe some other players that might be better to get the quarterback. I think that makes a lot of sense. And then, wide receiver at the top of the second, safety in the second is fine as well. If you really, really fall in love with a receiver because of the value at the position, I could understand going for the 5th-year option. And maybe you feel like going with the quarterback in the second round provides some sort of better, value to go up and get a quarterback in 2027. So you're not eating as much, you're not losing like a first round pick caliber 5th-year option. Because if you get 3 years into your quarterback's career, you might be giving him a new contract anyway. So the 5th-year option may not even come into play. So a few ways that you can kind of think of that. Good question, though, Blitz. I agree. Those are probably my top. I would say linebacker / edge, which I think Reese kind of hits both those. We should trade a conditional pick for McKee. Sign Brissett. I'm not sure what people see in the 27 class as it pertains to quarterback prospects, but I wouldn't force a quarterback. I'd be down with this. I like McKee a lot. Brissett, I would be fine with. I could go any number of directions for like a vet. Like if you wanted to run it back with Tyrod, I'd be cool with that too. Flexibility, yes. Jets weren't looking to trade Sauce. Indy blew them away. Yes. But they also structured his contract so that way if they were blown away with a deal, they had the ability to do so without the contract coming into play. Because the Jets signed him to that contract, it made it that much more valuable. Sign Jameis. Jameis is you got to trade for Jameis. I don't think that's happening. Is McCarthy worse than Zach? Right now, I'm pretty sure McCarthy, it was like out of 811 or 812 quarterbacks, I think he was 811, and only Jamarcus Russell was worse. So I guess in theory, yeah, it's got to be. I liked McCarthy coming out. For a long time, I didn't think he'd be a first-round pick, and then he just skyrocketed up. All you need is one team to fall in love with him. A lot of guys would like him. I know Jeremy really liked him. Just don't need a wide receiver in the draft. We are 7th in the league in creating separation, and that was before the trades for Mechie and Mitchell. Yeah, I guess. I mean, he's going to be a restricted free agent, I think, after this year, and AD Mitchell has 2 years. So if you think you have a good wide receiver, I would be fine with pulling the trigger on it. I don't have a problem with that. And I agree with Joe. I would like a taller wide receiver. Red John, Mendoza is Mark Sanchez 2.0. I like Ty Simpson. Really? What makes you say Mendoza is like Mark Sanchez? I'm curious to see that thought process play out. I don't really see it. I think he's got a faster processor than Sanchez. I like Sanchez is probably I don't want to say the best quarterback that we kind of had recently, but he looked the sharpest, which is kind of weird to say. Like Gino never really pulled that off with us. Sam never pulled that off with us. Zach definitely never pulled that off with us. Our offense has really good players. The issue is we don't have a functional quarterback. Taylor, Hall, Wilson, and a plus O-line is more than enough to get the job done on offense. Yes, Mike, I completely agree. That's why quarterback to me, like I think if you get the quarterback right, like if Mendoza's your guy, if this draft is considered not as good as next year's draft, I would much rather move up in this one and forego some picks to get our guy. And I would be fine with our defense just like not being up to snuff next year, which I don't even necessarily think has to be part of the calculation. Like I think the Jets are going to have so much money in free agency that you're going to be able to add some talent that's going to make a difference. I don't think you're going for like top tier guys, but I would throw a ton of money at Linderbaum. I would try to bring back, either AVT. I like bringing back Myers. Simpson, I'd be open to. I guess between Simpson and AVT, you bring back one of the guys. And then, you round out the rest of the roster. Because like linebacker, safety, maybe D-tackle, interior offensive lineman, all those positions are like can be had in free agency, second and third tier waves of free agency, and mid-round picks. So the Jets really can round out the top end of their roster. James Winston next year alongside Tyrod. What are you willing to trade the Giants to get him? Because he's under contract for 2 years. Would any criminal charge force Woody to sell the team apart from his brother? I think he'd have to have some really bad emails with a certain Jeffrey to stand a chance, and I don't think that's going to happen. Height means nothing. Furthermore, Mitchell is 6'3" with 4.3 speed. I think you could just get a big-bodied wide receiver. I don't think it necessarily has to be at the top of the draft. I do want someone that's bigger to be like just a possession kind of guy that can go up and jump ball. But like Jordan Tyson, Carnell Tate, both guys 6'2", 6'3" listed here. I would definitely take either one of them at the top if you weren't going quarterback. Malachi Lemon or Makai Lemon from USC appears to be another guy like that. He's only 5'11". So it doesn't have to be like a high end. Like if there was a Mike Evans caliber receiver, I would go after that in a heartbeat. I don't think there's someone of that size that's out there. But separation is absolutely key, more so than just size. Ty Simpson scares me. He couldn't beat out quarterbacks that weren't able to get drafted higher than the 5th round. Talking about Jalen Milroe? Jalen Milroe was drafted late last year. I would say there's certainly some concern with that. Rays would trade 3 first-round picks to get number 1 or number 2 if Mendoza is there. I think the Raiders would make some moves. I think they need a lot of help, though. I think they're a prime location for Kyler. I could totally see them end up with him there. I could also see a situation where Watson is June 1st cut and ends up in Vegas, which is probably a horrible spot for that particular individual to go. If Watson is not on the Browns, where do people think he might play? Let me know in the chat. Our poll question: how do you prefer to solve quarterback 1? Draft a rookie in 2026 has 54% of the vote. 33% says build the team and draft a rookie in 27. Let your voices be heard. I do want to thank the sponsor of the channel, and that is one Sleeper. Now, Nick Folk screwed me, and Aaron Glenn, because we went for it on 4th down, didn't kick a field goal, could have had an opportunity maybe to do that. Breece Hall went over on the receiving yards. A.D. Mitchell went over on the receiving yards. Derrick Henry had himself 2 touchdowns, so I would have hit. It would have been, was it $20 to win? What was the number? 135. Bastards. Didn't quite get it. You think you know football? Then try your turn. Sorry. Think you know football? Then try to turn your football knowledge into real money with the Sleeper app, the ultimate fantasy sports app that can turn game day into payday. Just download the Sleeper app and pick more or less on your favorite players with more stats than other daily fantasy apps. Just choose 2 or more of your favorite players from the pregame or live. Pick more or less from the anticipated stats, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money if your picks win. Use promo code JETSTALK, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. If you guys want to help support the sponsor of the channel, or if you guys want to help support the channel, help support the sponsor of the channel. Sleeper's been courteous enough to help us out all season long, so thank you. Thank you all the same. They lost to Oregon, so they're probably out of the playoff picture. Talking about... Who was I talking about? I don't remember why I brought that up. Oh, A-Rod gave Mahomes that advice when Mahomes was a kid. I didn't know that. That's funny. Talking about playing baseball instead of football. Mendoza is Tua. Ugh, I hope not. I'd be pretty pissed if that's how that worked out. Who are all these elite quarterback prospects who are supposedly coming out in 2027? So the theory is right now that Sellers, Moore, and potentially Mateer are all going back to school. Then you've got Arch Manning. You've got the kid from... why am I drawing a blank right now? The kid from Ohio State saying... shit, I don't remember. Who are the other quarterbacks? Those are the big ones. You got CJ Carr from Notre Dame is going to be a popular name. Dylan Raiola out of Nebraska is listed on here as well. And DJ Lagway out of Florida are considered to be the top, I don't want to say top 5 quarterbacks, but in alphabetical order. That's how they spit them out. Sayan's going to be a really fun one to watch. If you can get him, that would be really cool. Oh, talking about USC. That's what we're talking about. When they played the game, they said if Oregon lost, their college football chances fall to 22. If USC loses, it drops to 2%. USC pretty much out of the playoffs. I gotcha. Did anyone predict Drake May being this good this soon? I mean, he was drafted top 3. People thought he would be really good. I like Jaden Daniels the most out of that quarterback class. Then Drake May. Then actually, I like Michael Penix a lot. I liked him coming out. I thought he was too injury prone to go as high as he did, which ended up being true. I thought he was the most pro-ready quarterback at the time. But Drake May's a stud. I mean, you probably, in hindsight, you might even go Drake May 1. And then Caleb Williams has looked pretty good. I still like Jaden Daniels a lot. That was a really good class. Unfortunately, the Jets won versus the Patriots and gave the Patriots their franchise quarterback. Jersey for Hawks wants Dante Moore. I like Dante Moore a lot. I would have no problem with making that selection. Moore has a noodle arm. He's almost certainly going back to school. Mendoza reminds me of Cousins. If you could tell me we could draft Kirk Cousins and like have maybe a better shot at winning the primetime games, like Cousins' biggest knock, hands down, is that he doesn't win the primetime games or the big games. Like if Mendoza goes through the college football playoffs and he winds up winning a national championship, like all damn day I will sign up for that. I would not even question it. Question, what's your thoughts on Joe Milton as a quarterback? I like Joe Milton. Joe Milton, Jordan Travis, and Tanner McKee were the three quarterbacks that I really liked taking a swing at. I thought Jordan Travis might be the most interesting one because he was potentially seen as a late first. If we knew the injury was as bad as it ended up being, I would have probably signed off on McKee than Milton. Milton, I really liked. I thought his raw upside was astronomical. Just a howitzer for an arm. McKee, I thought, was really smart. Either one of those guys I'd be fine with. If the Jets could wind up getting him for like a late round pick, I don't even know where Joe Milton is right now. Where did he get traded? Is he on Dallas? Why do I think that's where he's at? He's on Dallas. Yeah, I have no problem with him. Like at all. I don't know what it would take to get him. I don't know. What did the Cowboys give up to get him? So he's got, 2 years left on his deal. Mendoza reminds me of Dalton as his floor and Matt Ryan as his ceiling. I mean, that's kind of fine, too. Matt Ryan should have won a Super Bowl. Who cares about that? We have gone the athletic type and got burned out each time. Talking about Mendoza maybe and not being able to move as well as some of these other guys. I think Mendoza is plenty athletic. I don't have an issue with him. Where does Chew get his weird Tua comparison? I have no idea. That's the first time I've ever heard him compared to Tua. Jets true needs, not common narratives, are edge, D tackle, safety, and quarterback. I mean, I still think wide receiver is definitely in there. I think you need another guy to complement Garrett outside. I mean, it would be cool if A.D. Mitchell turned into that, but I don't know if you want to just gamble on it. I think if you're drafting a rookie quarterback, you want to add as much talent as possible. I think running back could be a sneaky need if you don't re-sign Brees. I hope we re-sign him. It just goes to show, even with all the right resources, you never know with quarterbacks. This guy has O'Connell, McCown, Jefferson all supporting him, and he can't produce. That's true. That's absolutely true. Still the real AD. Ryan, could you talk about who are some of the best tackles coming out of college right now? I don't know. I'll be honest, because I'm not looking at tackle. Are you talking about defensive tackle? Or just offensive tackle? Tackle is not a strong. This is not a strong class, from my understanding. I believe Dom was the one telling me that this is not the year to want a tackle. As far as defensive tackles, I couldn't tell you. I don't really like taking D tackle at the top of the draft. Ryan dropped the link to call in. I forgot about it. Now I'm almost an hour in. So I'm probably just going to talk to the chat. Orlando, would you trade down and get more picks, build a solid foundation if you're not in love with the quarterback? Yeah, I would be fine with that. I think I would. It would depend on how many picks you're getting in return and who you're giving up. Like if Reese or one of the top receivers is there, I'd probably be more inclined to take them because I think we have enough picks and have enough cash that you don't necessarily need a ton of additional picks. I feel like almost getting the better players would be your better route. I read John, too many vowels in Mendoza. Got too many letters in there. I remember Pete Carroll being annoyed that Mark was going into the draft. He still needed more time. Yeah, I mean, he probably also didn't want to have, what was it, John David Booney was behind him? Was that year? Or was Booney before Sanchez? He might have been after Leinart. Ugh, getting over a little bit of a cold over here. Zubin, I want elite processing and solid everything else in a quarterback. That's why, honestly, why I like Mendoza. I feel like the processor's there. He's 6'5", 225. Like, that's a solid quarterback build. Like, that is like basically everything you want. Completion percentage, 73%. He's got a 6-to-1 interception ratio, touchdown interception ratio. Like, to me, as long as he performs well in the college football playoffs, he is easily the pick that I want to go with. Like, it's not close, like, at all. But again, there's still time for me to switch that up if he doesn't look good. It's not even a question. I bring back Simpson before AVT. Come on. Yeah, look, I don't disagree with that sentiment at all. Like, I like AVT. He would have to sign a heavy incentive-laden deal, in which case I feel like he would prefer to play for a contender on an incentive deal than the Jets. Unless we just make his incentives so much higher that he's paid like a top guard if he just stays healthy. Which, if he stays healthy, I don't have a problem with that. I just don't want to have to rely on him to stay healthy, and then we pass on other good guards that could fill that role. Kind of similar to what happened with Becton, where Becton kept getting hurt. We kept putting our faith into it, and then we lose out on Fant. We lose out on Moses initially. So I want to avoid that type of scenario. Mendoza needs to be our franchise quarterback. It just feels right. I'll be honest, I'm in that same boat. I think it feels like he should be the guy. I feel like it makes sense for the offense. I think it makes sense for the timing of the caliber of this team, the coaching staff. Like, if they put off quarterback again, like, if they have a bad season, are you really going to give them the 27 class to pick? Like, maybe Muji you would, but I don't know if you would give Glenn that. Jake says, 2027 for me, class looks better and will still suck next year. Yeah, but, you could not suck as much, or you could just trade up. I don't know. There's a lot of ways to skin a cat, and I'm not going to say I'm sold on one particular way. Maybe it's Mendoza if he falls. Maybe that's the decision they've made. And then maybe it falls into that, like, back end of the first round conversation like we were talking about with like how the Giants did it with Dart. I'd be fine with that. If we are trading 3 firsts, it better be for Burrow or Lamar. Yeah, if we're going to give up that many firsts, that would be my preference as well. I'm curious to see what CJ Stroud would cost. He's someone I would mull over. You're going to have to pay him a big contract. We've got the space for it, but what would the Texans want for him, and what would their plan be outside of him? If they're trading him, I feel like you got to feel a little concerning. Do you start Mendoza? If not, how long does he sit? I would like to not start Mendoza right away. In my perfect mind, like, even if he beats out Tyrod Taylor or whoever the veteran quarterback is, I would love to see the staff say, hey, you're playing well. We want you to be the guy. Our plan is going to be go through 6 games. Here's what the schedule looks like. We want you to learn some of these, like the way the quarterback handles the position first, and then we're going to insert you in. I think the goal should be to not start him week 1 unless he's like clearly the best guy. But I would hope that maybe you can kind of bring him along a little bit slower, let him learn how to do press conferences, let him learn how to like train between each week. I like the idea of sitting the guy. Lemon isn't tall, but his contested catch rate is insane. I need to watch him. I haven't done it enough. I think I watched maybe like one highlight reel, and I don't even know if I watched like the full highlights of him. I haven't really been clicked into draft mode outside of the quarterbacks. Would you rather sign Simpson and Myers or AVT and Linderbaum? That's not even a question. That's a stupid question, Kev. Because anything that has Linderbaum in there, it's Linderbaum all day. Like I would even say no. If you could give me all three, if you said, hey, you could sign Simpson, Myers, and AVT or Linderbaum, I'm gonna take Linderbaum all day. And I will just find guard and I'll find two guards somewhere else. In my opinion, I think Simpson, Myers, Linderbaum would be the three offensive linemen I want. Because I think AVT is going to cost a little bit more. Linderbaum's going to be pricey AF. I agree. He's probably going to cost you $20 million a year. And I would pay that for that. Who is the team you're most nervous about taking a quarterback? The Saints? I would say the Raiders trading up. I think less so with Cleveland, but they have 2 firsts that could jump us. I would say Vegas is... Vegas and the Saints. Arizona's a sneaky team that might need a quarterback. I don't know. We're in a funky spot where the Saints could continue to roll with Shuck. I think the Raiders could go the veteran quarterback route. I could also see them jump us if they wanted to. The Rams could jump up. Pittsburgh's going to need a quarterback. But it might be too far for people to jump all the way up. One thing I hope we all agree, no Kyler. I want no part of Kyler Murray, like at all. So yeah, I'm good on passing that. Dante Moore has the upside of being a franchise quarterback. Literally every one of these quarterbacks does. Linderbaum is awesome. Wanted him so bad. Yeah, look, a lot of Jet fans want him. We're big on the center play up here, which is why so many people want Tippmann to play center, but he's clearly a better guard. Like, I don't even think it's in question that he's a better guard. If you get Linderbaum at center, that would be chef's kiss. I forgot who we chose over Linderbaum. He wasn't a first-round pick. He was he was a first-round pick. They just didn't exercise his 5th-year option. We took Sauce, Garrett, and JJ over him. Twice we're giving the Pats their franchise quarterback. Enough! That always happens. It's just our story. Not that I want Mendoza overweighting on 2027, but all our picks, but did you not see Mendoza come back with no time a couple of weeks ago with a minute 30 for a touchdown? I think Mendoza's a dog. I really like him a lot. I think he's worth the pick, and I would trade up for him to get him. Question, if we can't get Mendoza, how do you feel about trading back with the Cardinals, adding Murray? I want no part of Murray at all. I think his contract's bad. I think he's not a good quarterback, or not the quarterback I want for that price. Like, you'd have to give me a pretty high pick to come up and get to our pick. Like, it would be like Murray plus additional picks for them, which I don't know if that makes a whole lot of sense. I could see the Raiders trading for him. I don't know. There's a few different routes. I don't like that though. What do you think of Woody wanting to eliminate the players' report card of the owners? In my opinion, Woody is too sensitive. He's way too sensitive, but I'm on board with him. I completely agree with this. I would absolutely throw away the player report card because it's only hurting us. Like, there's no benefit to the player report card for the New York Jets. So as a fan of the Jets, I want no part of it at all. Make us look better. Or it's either that or we get a new owner. And I would say the new owner thing's probably not happening with Brick in the wings. Wild Wave says mediocre arm, spot thrower, accuracy. He's right-handed, taller version of Tua. I completely disagree. I don't think that makes any damn sense. It'd be nice to have a quarterback to stand tall in the pocket, less backpedaling, throw like quarterbacks of old. Yeah, still got to have a little bit of athleticism, but I think Mendoza has enough of it. I know we have a lot of money to spend, but I don't want to go crazy in free agency. This free agent class is terrible. That's why I want to blow the load on Linderbaum. Like, give him $20 million a year. If that's your one big free agent, fine. Go second and third tier free agents the rest of the way out. Pay your own guys in-house. Go up to Brees and say, hey, Brees, we're going to hit you with a franchise tag. We want to prove to you that we are serious about being all in. We still want to negotiate a contract. Like, we have 3 years, $36 million on the table for you. It's right here. You can sign it whenever you want. But we're going to hit you with a franchise tag until you decide you want to sign it. And then we are going to try to add a quarterback, and then we'll readdress this contract situation after the draft. So that way you know where the team's headed, and you decide if you want to commit to what this is looking like. I rather pay our own guys that we know have worked well here than go out and pay other teams' free agents. I'd rather go the second and third wave. Sayin is small. He's built similarly to Bryce Young. Not interested. How tall is he? Am I like... All right, so he's listed at 6'1", 208. I would imagine maybe they're listing him a little bit higher. Maybe he's 5'11". What did Bryce Young come in at? Bryce Young looks little when he's playing quarterback. 5'10". Kyler, I think, is 5'8", right? What's his weight? 204. Yeah, I guess he is similar in size. I don't love that height if that's what he comes in at. Mateer is 6'1", so same height, but he's 20 pounds heavier. And Sayin's playing on like an all pro caliber team. But height shouldn't be the only deciding factor, because there's plenty of guys that are shorter that, I shouldn't say plenty of guys, but there are guys that are shorter that are really good quarterbacks. Luby, Super Jets fan, says Purdy trade just got 50% more likely. Why is that? Did he get hurt? Or is he playing poorly tonight? Would he throw an interception? Mac Jones, 8 games, 6 interceptions. Brock Purdy, 4 games, 5 interceptions. Oh, man, that's not good. Oof. Brock Purdy on throws of 15 yards plus this season. 1 touchdown, 6 interceptions. That is not good. 3rd interception of the first half. Sorry, I'm just seeing... ooh. Yeah, I don't know how you can consider Purdy at this junction. Sorry, I'm just watching a few clips here. Oh, man. Some ugly picks. Yeah, I'm out on the Brock Purdy thing. That's an expensive contract to be not playing well. Light Grenade. Any free agents you want the Jets to target? Leo Chanel, linebacker from the Chiefs. Travis Jones, D-tackle from the Ravens. Cameron Curl, safety from the Rams. Can't have rookies starting in every spot. I mean, we're going to have a lot of free agent money to spend. I would say right now I'm focused primarily on Linderbaum as my marquee free agent. I think you probably look at some Denver and some Lions players to maybe bring in as well. I would be open to signing guys that are of a higher caliber. I think linebacker, D-tackle, and safety are certainly the positions to look at. Pierce from Indy should be a target in free agency. Garrett, Pierce, Mechie, Mitchell, Taylor, Brees. I like Pierce. I wouldn't hate that. Give top rookie an entire redshirt year for once. I would love to see that. We drafted Zaire Barnes over Tanner McKee. Yeah, what round did McKee go in? He went 6th round. But we also had Jordan Travis already and Zach Wilson. That was the Zach Wilson, Jordan Travis, Aaron Rodgers year. So I don't think we were taking a second quarterback that year. But yeah, McKee over Jordan Travis all day. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way for us. Stroud's problem, he says, no O-line. I think the Texans know he's not the issue. Yeah, but from little rumblings I've heard, nothing's imminent, but there's some sort of disconnect between Stroud and the OC, or Stroud and DeMeco Ryans. Nothing that they can't overcome, but I would keep an ear out for that one. They're going to have to pay him a big contract, and I think there's a possibility that he could get moved. Do you trust Glenn and this staff to develop Mendoza? I'd prefer a veteran quarterback. Not sure how this locker room sits and have patience with a rookie quarterback to develop. I think you should bring in a veteran so the veteran players have a chance to try and compete. But I do trust this staff to develop Mendoza as much as any other staff that we've had. I like Engstrand. I think he's more qualified as a play caller than we've had in the last bunch of years. So yeah, I guess I would trust him. I don't know what my other option would be. Jets terrible, says Pierce and Chanel are the two targets. Linderbaum isn't going anywhere. So the issue with Linderbaum is the Ravens can't franchise tag him, because that franchise tag would be the average of the top 5 at the tackle position. There is no center transition tag. If the Ravens were smart, which they are, I could see them using the transition tag on Linderbaum and just matching whatever the top contract is for him. I do think he's worth $20 million a year. I think he's the top center. I think the Jets have enough money to throw that around and not really sweat it. I don't know if the Ravens have that much money. Let's go to over the cap. So cap space for next year. Ravens have a pretty decent amount. I don't know what cuts they have coming, but on a quick look, $47 million in cap space, but it says effective cap $28 million. So I don't know exactly how that's playing out. All right, I'm at the hour 12-minute mark. Let's go for another. I'll take it to the hour 20-minute mark. We'll talk a little bit more ball. Get your questions in while we're ripping through this. Vegas needs a quarterback. I agree. I'd keep Clemens if it got us Linderbaum. Yeah, I guess I would probably do that. Kyler would still be an upgrade to our quarterback room. I agree. Look, I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I don't love his height. I think he's really accurate. And I think it would definitely get us an upgrade, but he's just on a fat contract. And I don't love that they initially offered him that big contract with like the playing or with the studying guarantee. That tells me his head's not in the game. If we end up at number 3 or number 4, no team. I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe is that a trade up conversation? Ablab. These quarterbacks aren't trade up material. Sorry, bro. Besides, did you see our safety play? Get the best player available, make the roster great. Then 27, you got a lot of different stabs at blue chip quarterbacks. I mean, last year we thought there would be a bunch of potential blue chip quarterbacks in this class. Like we were all talking about how next year's quarterback class is really the class you'd want to go for. And I don't want to get stuck in that mindset because that's almost how you pass on Mahomes and Watson. As far as not wanting to trade up, I think you just have to put a cap on it. Like, what are you willing to move up to do? If you don't think other teams are willing to move up for a quarterback, then maybe you take your chances and you let one of the guys fall. But I think based on Muji going to at least 3 of the games for Mendoza, I think that's telling me he's leaning that direction. I think he clearly looks like the best quarterback right now. I think the size is what you want. I think the arm strength is what you want. I think the processing power is what you want. So I do tend to lean towards wanting to get him. Just a matter of how much to give up. Ravens are not letting Linderbaum walk. Pipe dream. Do you think he decides not to test free agency and just signs whatever deal they give him? I don't disagree that they're going to want him back. I just don't know how you prevent him from testing free agency. Like, there's no disadvantage to him to go out and shop himself around. Lou B says, would love Mendoza and McKee. That's a great combo. If you could trade like a mid-round pick for McKee, like if you could give up a 4th, that would be awesome. I would give up a 4th for McKee all day. I think it's probably a 3rd is what you might have to do, but we don't have one of those. But I would give up a 4th, and then maybe a conditional if he re-signs something. Like, I like McKee, and I think McKee you could keep and let him. McKee's the type of player that if you have going into the draft, it would give you the option to not trade up. So that way you can let Mendoza fall to you. And then if you don't like McKee after next year, you draft the quarterback in 27. I think that would be a really good move. V-Man, the future is not guaranteed. Take the quarterback now. I think if we are in striking distance of Mendoza, I like getting Mendoza. I think that would be the smart move. But like Lou just said, if you get McKee, maybe for a mid-round pick, and then maybe you wait on Mendoza. I like McKee enough that it might prevent me from trading the assets to go get Mendoza. I'm just operating under the like, if Mendoza is the guy, like go get him. I don't think it's going to cost you a whole lot either. Like if you're sitting at pick 2 or 3, if the Jets can manage to get to 2 or 3, there's still an outside shot we get 1. We just have to lose out. If we lose out and the Titans beat the Steelers or beat the Saints, the Jets have the first pick. As a Packers fan, do not touch Malik Willis. I want no part of Malik Willis. That's all right. You can touch him all you want, Steven. Even Carolina has turned things around. How do we consistently fail year after year? I mean, look, we went all in on Rodgers. I think it was the right move at the time. It sucks that we made the selection of Zach. In hindsight, you trade down, you get the monster haul of picks. I think we were all just kind of tapped out at that point with the whole. I shouldn't say we were all tapped out on the Sam situation, but we were in a bad spot with Sam because he wasn't playing well. The team wasn't built up at that point. Trading down would have really been the best move. And then run it back with Sam. If Sam doesn't develop in those 2 years that you're trying to figure it out, then I think Baker was also an option. Am I wrong on that? Whenever we got Rodgers is when we could have gotten Baker, and Baker would have absolutely been the move. But hindsight, 2020. Example, the Ravens, Lamar goes down and they are dead. We don't want that situation here. I mean, Lamar's just so good. Like, he's the reason that team's relevant a lot of years. He could just do anything himself. I seriously don't want, like, a guy that could get hurt. I would love a coach or a staff or a system or whatever that you could just plug in quarterbacks. Like Shanahan, they're just plugging in quarterbacks left and right, and they're always getting stuff, from them. Jets Blues, I want Milton from Dallas. That kid can spin it. Bet he would come cheap. We can really stack the team with young picks around him. I like Milton. I just don't know what you're going to have to give up to get him because I think they traded for him not that long ago. What did they give up? They gave up a 5th-round pick for a 5th-round pick in 2025 to get Joe Milton and a 7th-round pick. I mean, I would throw a 4th-round pick at either Joe Milton or McKee. No questions asked. McKee would be my preference over Milton, but I'm not gonna split hairs here. Navy Hamster, it's quarterback or bust for me. You got to get a quarterback. I really believe that. I really like Mendoza. We're probably gonna have guys bitch up a storm either way, so we'll see. Wild Wave, how our strength of schedule keeps going up. How does it go down? So in order for our strength of schedule to go down, you need the teams that we are playing to play worse. Right now, Buffalo is winning. Right now, the Patriots are winning. The Steelers were winning. Just look at the teams that we played. As those teams win, it makes our strength of schedule harder, thus making us drop further. So in an ideal world, Atlanta, the Saints, the Browns find ways to win games, and that will make their draft stock fall further. The best way for us to help our strength of schedule would be for the good teams like the Patriots, the Bills, some of these other teams to lose games, because that means they are weakening our strength of schedule, which would thus give us a higher draft pick. We are in a situation right now where we get to play the Saints, the Falcons, and the Dolphins, and I think those 3 games are going to determine where we pick more so than the strength of schedule ultimately. Landon says, Mark Andrews, Njoku, Pitts, Hooper, Isaiah Likely, restricted free agent, all free agents. Any interest would nicely round out our tight end room. Yeah, any one of them. Less so on Pitts, I think, but any of the other ones, sure. I'm fine with drafting one, too, if you want to do that. I'm open to the conversation. Gangrene, I don't really want to trade up for a quarterback and give up a ton of picks. Most likely we can get Simpson if we miss out on Mendoza with only a second. Yeah, it depends where we finish up, because you might be able to give up a second to get the 1 if you wind up finishing 2. If you like Simpson enough, then sit tight. If more comes out, and let's say all 3 guys come out, I think the Jets are going to win 2 more games and we're going to fall down a little bit more. So I think probably the jump from 5 or 6 up to 1 is going to be the price of both firsts this year and a second next year. And I think the Jets will do that. Billy, what would I have to trade up to get Mendoza? I've been saying 2 firsts and a second, and I think the Jets are going to have to go up from like pick 5 or 6 to go up to 1. You guys are going to love Simpson after watching the college football playoffs. Trust me, he's operating with no run game. I'm cool with that. I'm totally open to being sold on Simpson. I think that the college football playoffs really a big indicator for me. McKee was the 23 draft. Travis was the 24 draft. Who did we miss on? I could have sworn we were talking about McKee. It was Milton. He was the 2023 draft. So that wasn't interesting. Okay. Sire Barnes in the 6th. Man, that was a dud of a draft. Outside of Will McDonald and Joe Tippmann, Carter Warren hasn't done jack. Izzy's gone. Barnes gone. JBC, is he on the Giants now? Kuntz, ugh. I don't know why I thought they came out the same year. Is there another? What other quarterback came out the year of Milton? I gotta look it up. 2024 NFL draft QBs. I thought all three of them were coming out the same year. Quarterbacks that year: Pratt, Larry, Joe Milton, Travis, Rattler. Oh, I guess I'm wrong. Damn, I could have sworn McKee was coming out that year. Oh, well. I was wrong. I liked McKee either way. I liked him coming out of Stanford. How you doing tonight, my man? Just I'm doing all right. Hanging in there. Ooh, did you ever see the QB school on the Jets on Breakdown? You see the offensive coordinator scheme has wide receiver routes too close to each other. I'll have to watch it. I've heard that same thing. I've liked him so far, but I like Engstrand, so I'm probably biased there. Baker was the number 1 pick, wasn't he? Yes, Baker was number 1 overall. We constantly waste picks on stupid draft picks. Hold on. We constantly waste picks on stupid draft picks. One good draft in the last 10 years and no one to surround them. Do we trade them away? Muji seems to be on the right track. I mean, I like his first draft so far. I like his first 3 picks. I think Arian Smith can play as his 4th round pick, but I think that was just overdrafted. Simpson has sat for 3 years and learned in a great program. He shows a lot of maturity and patience. I know Connor Rogers really likes Simpson a lot. I think drafting a quarterback is a waste of a pick. We never have patience to develop a quarterback if we ever have the staff that can do it. So what do you just want? You want to trade for a guy? And who would it be? Whatever it takes, Jets fans can't wait on a quarterback. It's been since Pennington, since we had a young, promising quarterback. I can't take it anymore. Yeah, I mean, we've had a few young, promising quarterbacks. They just haven't been promising enough. Hey, Ryan, any thoughts on kicking the tires on Deshaun Watson? No, I was a big Deshaun Watson guy. The reason we have Zach Wilson is because of Deshaun Watson's massage parlor stuff. The Jets would have had Deshaun Watson if that shit didn't go down. I believe Mendoza gets exposed versus Ohio State. Don't force the issue at quarterback. Yeah, I mean, I'm totally open to changing my opinion based on the college football playoffs. If he gets smoked by Ohio State, that's fine. You know, you have to give the analysis of, is Ohio State just jacked and tan, which is entirely possible, and how much of it is the downfall of Mendoza. I think Ohio State should win. They are absolutely loaded across the board. A&M looks pretty stout too. Would you rather trade your picks for Burrow? Maybe Dak. It depends what you would have to give up for either one. My understanding is both guys have no trade clauses, so I don't know if they would waive those to come here. I feel Purdy has the golf stigma where people think he's only good with his head coach calling plays, but he could really be good outside of him. If Purdy... Hold on. Sorry, I hit my microphone. Let's take a look at Purdy's contract. I don't like quarterbacks that can't perform with Shanahan. I'll be honest. Damn, he's got a bad contract. Yeah, I don't know if you do that. The 49ers would have to give up some picks for us to take on Purdy. I don't even know if they could really do it. There's a lot of issues here. Yeah, no, I think they're stuck with that contract, unfortunately. I thought the Giants were going to be actually a decent team this year. I guess not. I think they are good. I think they just lost Neighbors and, now that Dart's not playing right now, but I think that team's better than I thought they were going to be. What about bringing Mike White back as a bridge? We don't get what we want. The quarterback in the draft, I believe he is on someone's practice squad. I don't think he would want to come here considering the owner said you fucking suck. I think our owner shot himself in the foot. Watson rubs people the wrong way. Yeah. How about a Cam Ward, Jeffrey Simmons trade? No, I don't want Cam Ward at all. Simpson has problems pushing the ball down the field. Accuracy falls off, and he also has shown fumbling problem in recent weeks. My biggest concern with Simpson is he just doesn't have a lot of starts. Like, that's why I like Mendoza. Mendoza checks off a lot of boxes for me. All right. Where do we stand? Got 200 people that voted on this. 50% of the chat wants to draft a rookie in 2026. 35% want to build a team and draft a rookie in 2027. 15% want a veteran quarterback via trade or free agency. I vote the rookie. I want a rookie this year or a rookie next year. I like the idea of having our young guy. I'm open to listening to ideas, but how much money and how many picks are you going to have to give up to do either one of these things? Boys and girls, I have enjoyed your company tonight. Again, give another shout out to sponsor the channel, Sleeper. Get a $100 deposit match on your first deposit up to $100 using promo code JetsTalk. If you want to help support the channel, support the sponsors of the channel. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, talking Jets with O'Leary and Green Bean. We're going to recap Matt's wedding. It was so much fun. I had a great time dancing it up on the dance floor, tearing it up on the dance floor. It was great. I got a video of us doing a Jet chant at the table, so we'll bring that up and show you guys tomorrow some pictures and stuff from that. We were looking pretty freaking good, if I do say so myself. Myself, Green Bean, Richie, Jeremy, Jake, and Mr. Matt O'Leary himself. Looking fantastic. Boys and girls, that's going to be it for me tonight. I will see you tomorrow. JETS!